Right, welcome everyone. This is episode 50 of the Contextual Podcast. I never thought I'd be saying that. I am Chris Phelps. I'm back. I'm going to do a bit more regular than it's been the last few months, so apologies, guys. And tonight, with it being episode 50, my good friend is back, Mr. Andrew, Pixel Hunter. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Refreshed, obviously. Ready for another hour of complete and utter gibberish. I would have thought that we can then call a podcast at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. just bear with me one sec.
No worries.
One sec.
I'm still getting over the fact that you had said that you've got rid of Red Dead Redemption without dropping any bombshells as well. But Virginia sat in the kitchen, absolutely bereft, wondering whether I could come back to my computer and actually start the podcast.
If you can actually speak to me, you mean?
Honestly, incredible stuff.
Well,
at least I can't see your face because it'll probably be a cracked laptop screen. And so, although saying that, then I'd be able to see your beautiful quiff as well. So we'd be kind of on a level par at that point, really.
Well, actually, it's still going strong, the quiff, mate.
Is it?
Yeah,
good.
Very good. Well, I tell you what, before we go into what we're going to talk about, which is obviously PES and FIFA, let's just get the Red Dead Redemption elephant out of the room. So,
I want to keep it fully in the room, mate, honestly.
Well, what's happened is, I bought it on Xbox, so obviously it was a toss-up between the PS4, Xbox One X, and I was like, I've got a Pro, obviously. I was like, right, which we're going for? So I thought, go on Xbox. I played most of my games on Xbox. So I bought it. Now, started playing it, enjoyed it. I'm a massive GTA fan.
Yeah.
Completed GTA 5. I've got it on PC now. I've completed it, don't know how many times. Love that game. Same pretense as we know as GTA. The first Red Dead Redemption, enjoyed it, but again, gets bored after so long.
Oof.
And I got rid of it. I know, sorry, because I'm not a single player anymore. Anyway, I used to be, obviously, before online. And obviously the PES days of the local multiplayer. So I played it, loved it, made the mistake of going away for 2 weeks. Well, I was off work for 2 weeks and we went to Vegas for my 40th, 18th to 25th of November. And I've not touched it. And then, as everyone knows, I'm an absolute PUBG fanboy. Forget about Fortnite. I hate that game.
I've never heard that before. Sorry, you like... I mean, this is the first time hearing of it. So you're a massive fan of PUBG?
Oh, yeah. I've tripled. Yeah, I love it. I
can't imagine. That doesn't seem like I've ever heard those words out of your mouth before.
No, well, Gears of War was my game. Always has. A bit of sarcasm there. I
don't know.
But
you missed me for too long, mate. That's what it is.
Well, genuinely, as I look around my gaming room, I've got you
got a massive figurine of PUBG that you sleep with.
No, I have. I swear to no, I haven't got a figurine, but I've got a PUBG controller. Honestly, I've got a PUBG. I've got a 3-foot PUBG mouse mat that I use now because obviously I've got a gaming PC. I've got the PUBG. I've got the good thing is with PUBG PS4, which is one of the reasons I wanted it as a completist. Is the fact that it's actually a proper disc. The Xbox version was a sort of paper box that looked like a disc box, but there's no disc in it. It's a code, whereas the actual PS4 one's actually a disc. So I've got it on PC, which I bought from Steam, which I'm absolutely useless at keyboard and mouse pretty much these days. I'm getting better, but it
makes me feel a bit nauseous thinking about that, really.
Oh, shocking, Andrew. Honestly, I'm absolutely shocking. But the reason is, obviously, I spend my time when I'm gaming online. Now, I've played a lot of PUBG. I mean, a lot. Hundreds of hours of PUBG playing it, especially on Xbox. And then I got me PC and I love it. I mean, you can tell the difference in PC. The graphics are just
far superior.
Different levels, but you've got to play keyboard and mouse. So like I've been playing today, there's a new map called Vikendi, which is a snow map, which is absolutely fantastic. But luckily it's squads because I'm playing with people who can actually shoot correctly because I'm terrible with keyboard and mouse. But when it come on PS4, and I know it's not 4K like the Xbox, and everyone slags it, I'll say it's a shit storm of a game, graphics glitches. But it cost me £18, and I have spent so many hours. Because for me, I don't know about yourself if you played any Battle Royale games, but you have this thing where you get to like the last 10, and the map's shrinking, and I swear to you,
I understand the concept. Yeah.
Honestly, I swear to you, and I understand why people don't get it, but I swear to you, it's absolutely revolutionized my gaming experience from the simple reason that I can't even play stuff like Gears of War anymore because
there's a reason, regardless of what anyone would think or what I would think of a game like Fortnite or PlayerUnknown, they're not, like Fortnite is probably going to be, one of the most successful and heavily marketed games of all time. And regardless of the fact that it might be the sort of cartoony nature, which gives it that kind of mass appeal or anything like that, or the fact that, quite a lot of big YouTubers like Ninja and stuff like that are playing it, that element, which is relatively unique, which is obviously still riding the crest of a wave at the moment, is like nothing any of us have played before. So obviously when I started initially playing Fallout, and I was playing it with my sister and friends like that as well, when it's such a sort of large scale battle that then constantly shrinks as well, it's brilliant. And it's obviously got that incredibly addictive quality. I mean, you could probably go weeks and months without, maybe even some people out there that still haven't actually won a game. But then that's obviously the carrot, isn't it?
Yeah, and I must admit, like, I've played the PS4s, obviously, since it come out. I went and got it. What I did was, as I said, I traded Red Dead in. I got 31 quid in game, which usually game absolutely pull your fucking pants down for tradings. But I got £31, so I was really pleased with that. Used 25 quid for PUBG, and then he put the rest towards a gaming headset.
The game, mate, honestly. And just a small caveat as well, but recently, especially in and around the time that Red Dead was coming out, and I was doing it specifically, and granted I was finding the cheapest way to do it, but they released a list, and they were like, if you trade these in, like WWE and Red Dead and everything like that, they're going to be half price. So I was like, oh, amazing. So when WWE came out, because again, that's a game that I can keep all year, not extensively play, but it's just great for sort of couch court parties and stuff like that as well. Like Universe mode is brilliant. Obviously, strip out all of the current roster and just put all the classics like Macho Man and stuff. So I was like, brilliant, I'll do that. And it worked fine. I found a game online that was 8 quid or something like that was on Amazon Marketplace, and I got 25 quid for it. So I ended up getting WWE for 25 quid. And obviously, without informing anybody, they must have cottoned on to the fact that people were doing this. So by the time that Red Dead came out, the same game that I bought, I basically bought 2 copies of it so that I knew that we'd get Red Dead half price. They'd taken it off the list. They'd basically amended the list so that that game that I bought from the marketplace was just the same price as what I traded it in. So yeah,
wankers, aren't they?
Unbelievable. I mean, it's so convenient for me to get to in Stockport as well. But realistically, I just think I'll just stick to online now as well, because there's absolutely no point in. You just get, like I say, you just get your pants pulled down, don't you? So
yeah, it's true, because I've got like Game Trafford Centre near me, and there's a lovely bloke where, a good mate of mine actually called Pete, who I've actually got to know for years because I go in there like regular. But I literally go in there and just laugh at the prices. But I always say,
do you not have to take like a baseball bat or a pump action shotgun if you want to go to the Trafford Centre at the moment? Is it not like hell on earth?
No,
like Dead Rising?
no, because we live that close. We have a special shopping like timetable when we go. So what we would do is we'll go on a Monday night at 4:30. Sam gets in about 4:20. I'm already home because obviously I'm home at midday. And we're literally there within 5. We literally live, Andrew, a minute away in a car. So it's not even a minute. So we go.
You're not having to deal with all of the masses.
There's no one there. We always go in the week. There's no. If we see, to be fair, we've just joined that Limitless with Odeon because of the comics podcast. We're reviewing all that, the latest stuff and all stuff.
All the films, yeah.
Yeah, so we do go sometimes. We did go the other week on a Sunday, which I absolutely detest. And 20 minutes to find a car space, especially this time of year. But we're going tomorrow, but we'll be going at 4:30. So we're going to go and watch Aquaman. So it'll be dead. So that's out tomorrow. So literally,
it's got relatively positive reviews as well, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah, they're really good reviews. To be fair, they said for DC, especially the shit show of some of the Superman and Batman stuff that's come out. But yeah, so we'll go in there. When I go in game, I just laughing me fucking cock off. But the one thing I always say with game is, to be fair to them, the bundles for actual consoles.
Yeah, they're relatively competitive, aren't they?
Yeah, they are good. A friend of mine asked me today for an Xbox One S for his dad's 78 and he started playing Forza on the 360. And he loves Forza, so he wants Xbox One. So he's 78 years old. So I just said to him, go to game, tell them what you want. I said, because bundle wise, especially this time of year, they'll be throwing it at you. You know, so
I'm really delaying the inevitable of why the fuck you're not playing Red Dead anymore, mate. You need to break the ice with me here as well.
Well,
so it's basically because PUBG came out that you ended up stopping.
It's because I'm an online gamer. I just love that. I think that's like what I always say about PES and stuff, and I know we'll get onto that in a minute, but I like the missions. I don't know what it is with Grand Theft. I can play that all day and do the stupid side missions, and I can just sit there and just pee about. But I think because I'm on a horse and I'm running around, I just got a bit bored of like going in. I just kept going into building.
Unbelievable.
What I love doing, though, just before you tell me a new one, is going into the fucking shops and just holding people up and killing them and then getting chased. But after a bit, that gets a bit boring. So I was doing the missions and lassoing people and everything. And genuinely, it's a proper looker of a game. This so clever.
You mentioned there about the fact that obviously because of the technology that's sort of like constantly improving, you're never usually going to be able to find anything graphically that comes close to a PC game. And especially if that, you know, that's what like sort of Angry Joe was saying when you watch his video, is that he can't believe that how good. Granted, obviously the HDR filter on the PS4 Pro, and I think it must be the same on the Xbox One, it does not work. But you still get the upscale of 4K when you have it off. Yeah, it just looks incredible. I have never played a game which is so intricate, and you can actually appreciate the amount of time that's gone into it just because of the amount of naturally occurring things. I mean, I was telling the story to my friend, of which I'll try and keep very brief, about when one of the guys in camp was telling me that if I want to go hunting and be successful, you need to make sure you're clean. So when you click the 2 sticks in, you can see that there's an odor coming off you. So you can't necessarily hunt in silent because the animals will be able to smell you. So I went into town to get a bath, and everything that transpired from there, which was just completely naturalistic and organic, that ended up me being on the run because there was a hooker that came out of one of the saloons who said he thought she'd killed one of the clients, who I had to then dump into the pig pen out the back, which then transpired that somebody spotted me. And obviously if you see a witness and he runs to the sheriff, he's too far away, I end up shooting him in the back of the head. The sheriff sees it. The whole town comes after me. I have to hide in another town, and just all the beautiful things that transpire like that as well. And I think, you know, cutscenes aside, all of the little things that happen in it, because the characters are so well-rounded, that you could quite easily bypass, especially the stuff that happens in camp. Like the writing and the story creation and the characters in there as good as some of the tosh that Netflix had turned out, like 9 times out of 10. Just the amount of detail and work that's gone into it is just absolutely incredible. So I can understand where you would come from that online point of view, but I just think for anyone, I think the one thing that I find refreshing is when you see the Game Awards this year, you still have the front runners being single-player games. So God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead. And that at least gives me confidence that the fact that we go into the new year with a new list of games coming out, the likes of Resident Evil 2 Remake and stuff like that, that single-player games still have a place on the market, even though there's obviously the strength of PUBG and Fortnite that are obviously taking over the majority of it, with quite a lot of the casual gamers as well.
No, that's a very good point, to be fair. And look, I'm one of these. It's like Metal Gear Solid. You read the reviews, they go 10 out of 10, what a game. I bought Metal Gear Solid 5. I bought the the prologue, played that little cheap version they brought out where you had so many missions and sort of gets you into the new sort of Fox engine use of it, which, to be fair, is the proper way the Fox engine should be used. Hinting as we go into our next topic, as always. But I get to a point where I can only fucking it's like Splinter Cell. I can only play it so long.
No, I've always been a little bit the same with Metal Gear. I think the most recent one, I obviously appreciated again the amount of. I'm kind of almost finding that a little bit, as you can imagine, with a very young family, that Red Dead will probably last me a good 6, 7, 8 months to complete. You know, especially looking at the way that the story's going at the moment. I mean, it's easily, about 100 hours or something like that as well. Yeah. But I think I've really only had like one big session on it, and it's definitely one of those games that rewards longer play. So when I'm just playing it like an hour at a time and stuff like that, you need to be relatively sort of frugal and do quite a lot of the missions, because obviously it rewards you for doing quite a lot of the hunting and stuff like that as well. But, that's not to its detriment. It's still a wonderful game.
No, I'm with you on that. And I'm sure at some point when it drops under 20, I'll probably buy it back, because I'm that sort of fickle gamer. So
it's funny you say that, isn't it? Because obviously the beta online is out for it at the moment. So even though quite a lot of me and my friends are sort of being in a party chat with PlayStation 4 and we're all playing it offline together and sharing our different stories of the way that we're actually playing the game as well. It won't be long until the actual full online element of that will be out as well. So that should be very interesting.
And it's whether he's got the legs as well, because I know GTA Online's still going strong. So
biggest selling, is it in the billions? Is it like 4 billion or something like that? That game's made.
He's still in the top 10 now, Andrew. He's still in the top 10 games.
It's incredible, isn't it?
People are still buying it. That's
just because of the fact that they've just basically invested so much in the online content that there's just new stuff on there all the time.
Yeah, and again, I do. To be fair with GTA Online, as soon as I get online, all I do is fuck people up. I literally just go around running people over and just wanting to kill people.
If only there was an option to do that on Fallout 76, but let's not get into that. And thankfully,
oh god,
time and money in that as well, because that just sounds like a car crash.
Yeah, I've not even touched that piece of shit. Now let's get on to the topic we were going to. Well, the two subjects, PES. Now it's our game. You were originally PES Hunter. Now Pixel
custodian of PES Hunter as well, but
exactly
it got me into realizing that there were other things I could actually discuss rather than pouring bile and frustration on a game that I used to love so much. But
exactly. For anyone who's not listened to the podcast, Andrew was PES Hunter. He was quite well respected YouTuber. Me and Andrew did the Manchester Play Expo last year, where we actually worked for Sociable Soccer, which was like the Sensible Soccer, which is an old retro game for any of you guys who are sort of millennials or whatever. But it's something that we were passionate about, and we just worked one day, and it's led on to us. Obviously, I was doing the podcast. Me and Andrew became good friends. We've done a few podcasts, and one of the things that Andrew has been frustrated at is the fact that PES was just an absolute shit show in 2018, and you moved away from that, and we're having to find other things to do, weren't you? So you've got into.
I think it probably just made me realise that there's not really enough time in the world to be negative about everything as well. There's so much negativity on social media that that area of the market is quite easily taken up as well. And you would get that from, I don't know, the likes of Angry Joe, that they've got. I've just not got time for stuff like that. I only want to either watch, listen to, or play the things that I enjoy. So 9 times out of 10, the things that I would promote now, album of the week, films, TV shows, and games, are only stuff that I would be the same with my friends. This is really good. Watch, play, look at, or listen to this.
And that's a natural evolution, I think, as well. Now, what do you think of PES this year? Have you played it?
So I was always of the mind, very cynically, when I first picked it up, that it was going to have teething issues. And, by the by, it's been exactly the same with FIFA. But I was always of that mind that unless it was going to bowl me away, I would utilize, speaking of game, I would utilize the high trading value, look at what the download files were like, whether anyone had any completed ones. And obviously, because it was still in its infancy, even though some of the people who were closer to the game probably had earlier copies of it, like PES Universe.
Yeah.
Obviously, create the option files so that it makes all of the teams official, or as much of them as possible. And I couldn't. So there was that at that time where I couldn't really find a good combination of everything to try and make the game as official as possible. Because the one thing I absolutely despise is having either duplicate players or fake players within the actual Masters League. So that was a sort of a slight frustration, not to the detriment of the game itself, but then it was still having the same things as last time with the difficulty. It was so frustrating because there were so many elements, and I know you'll touch on the new patch as well, so that'll probably turn me around a little bit as well. But there were just so many elements again that just were so inherently frustrating with the offline play that just made me think I need to utilize, for money's sake, the high trading value there is at the moment, and pick up FIFA. While at least with FIFA still might have its teething issues, and subsequently it definitely did, because it was an absolute mess to begin with. And then just maybe pick it up round the corner, because we obviously know historically that PES doesn't do very well in respect to FIFA sales. And usually after Christmas, you could probably pick it up for about £15, £12 anyway.
No, I agree, because to be fair, the one thing they did this year, PES, which I've been sort of chomping at the bit, and everyone who listens to the podcast, I fucking slated the game, whatever. I've had my fallings out with Konami, has been well documented on the podcast. I'm not saying I'm fucking, some sort of anti-hero with Konami, but I just want PES, like you do, to be back what it was. Now, we all have different things. I'm an online gamer, you're an offline gamer. So for me, it's got to work online. It's never worked online for, 2011 MLO. I always go on about that. The Masters League Online, fucking amazing. Best Masters League I've ever played. It was so basic. Sitting there for hours, trawling for little bargains. Fantastic. The online work, that was one of the only PESs this gen or last gen as such that actually had a beta, and that actually led into the online being stable. Since then, it's been a mess. We've talked about it loads of times, but I have championed the fact that PES should come out to beat FIFA when the Premier League season starts, or when the leagues start around the world. So they get the jump on it. It's relevant. The football season starts. People go, oh, fucking hell, there's a football game out. Oh, yeah, we know FIFA 18 was out, and now it's FIFA 19 or whatever. But PES might gain a bit of traction. So, as I said before, I got a gaming PC. I thought, right, I'm going to buy a PC. I'm going to mod it. Watch all like the True Brit videos, PES Universe.
Yeah, because he's the one who does all the proper official hockey. So, for people that don't know, if you have a PC, you can basically edit it a million times more than if you have the console version to make it look exactly like the Barclays Premier League and so on and so forth. Exactly.
So I've, as you know, I mostly play with when I've played PES the last few years online, it's been with Steve-O. On the PS4, Xbox never really touched because you can't do any editing on the Xbox. On the PS4, you can get USB, add in your option files so you can put the full kits in. But as you know, the same thing. Can't do it on the Xbox. It's absolutely useless. As much as Microsoft are sort of gamer friendly these days.
I didn't realize. So that's exactly the same again this year.
Yeah, it's fucking useless. It's just pointless. Unless your team are licensed, you're pretty much knackered. I know that Damos who used to follow, he can do something, but you've got to swap accounts to do it, and it's a ball. And you've got to trust someone with your detail or his details.
Which you don't. Why would you have to go to that length to just get the team to be official? Yeah.
And if the game's not playing well, as we know it hasn't, what is the fucking point? So I went on PC. Downloaded an option file. I bought it on Steam. I bought it from CD Keys. It was about 23 quid. I thought it's a no-brainer. Put it on. Now, it doesn't matter because the games would run at 60 hertz anyway, but at the moment, I'm running a 1080 Ti and an i7 8700K, which are like, at the time when I got my PC 6 months old, were the best things out there. So, bang on. I can run it ultra, whatever I want. Game looks really good. HDR filter and everything. Literally, Andrew, I swear to God, it's so easy to just drop in, the files and that. But I haven't done the full, because you do like a full Sky presentation and you watch the True Brits YouTube page. He does proper commentary and
it's great.
It's good. He is good and really good like what he does. But I thought I'll go on PC. I'll get it on PC. The one mistake I've made, and this is again the showing the decline in PES. Can I get a game online? I literally go in the UK lobbies, and I'm not joking to you, there must be 15 people showing in them rooms, and they're all password protected because it's obviously friends who do it. I have to go in the Russian one and literally can get one game an hour. It's
why is that?
It's a joke in it, because obviously for years the PC they've made like a hybrid version on the PC, haven't they, for a few years, saying like we want it the same as the PS4 and Xbox. And to be fair to Konami, I can't believe them defending them. They used to say we don't get the sales because of pirating or the actual people playing it. But when you actually go in them lobbies, it's like a fucking desert town. You'd think the game's been out for about 4 or 5 years.
So is it that there are more? So would the likelihood be that the majority of people playing it online will be on PS4?
Yeah, I mean, this week it's just got an Xbox Game Pass. So if you pay $7.99, it's not like I'm fucking promoting the game, man. But I'm not. But if you pay $7.99 a month, you get like all the latest. Microsoft gets like Forza 4, Horizon, and all that stuff, and Gears or whatever.
But, a little bit like the PlayStation Plus membership.
Yeah. But that's actually on there now. PES 2019 is on there, which is good. But then there's a light version on the PS4 coming out, which is just for my club. But I swear to God, that fucking my club again. My team is ridiculous.
So my club is the equivalent of FIFA Ultimate Team, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fucking wank. I mean, I literally have got, I'm not joking, I've got up front, and I packed him as well. I've got the ball. I've got Romario, Brazilian Romario, years ago, Messi, Marco Reus, and we're going all the way back. But basically, the whole team is just superstars. And I've literally played 4 games, and I've got that team. How can that?
Yeah, that's not any sort of like consistent arc, is it really? Yeah, what are you working towards there if you've already got the best players on the game?
It's nonsense. Basically, if you bought the Ultimate Edition, you're going to get the best players. And like I had Beckham, I got Gareth Bale, I've got Coutinho. It's just nonsense. And I literally, I'll swear to you, I've literally played about 4 games. And I'm like, it should be you start with a shit team, shit players. You have to absolutely earn your coin.
Yeah, and I think to a certain extent, I would always do that from a Masters League perspective. But again, like I say, once, unless, and obviously people are free to comment, and when this goes live on social media later as well, if, like you alluded to, and on the forums, the most recent patch has actually eradicated any of those issues, then maybe I still will go back and after Christmas have a look once I've maybe exhausted the career mode and the story mode on FIFA.
Well, if you, sorry to cut across you, but if you download that now, you can play my club offline. So you can actually play the game as it is now. And this is the best patch that is played. Okay. And it does play a good game. I mean, and one thing I've done, Andrew, and I can't believe, like I say, how critical I've been in that game, and everyone knows the pretense of this podcast was that, which is how shit Pez was, is I've played a lot of it manual or 1-bar assistance. I played manual quite a lot, and I've quite enjoyed it manual against the computer.
Right. There's a different challenge, yeah, because obviously I would do because I always love the semi-assist shooting, like holding back for low shots and stuff like that as well. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Try it. I mean, even if you just did manual passing and see how you go on, but it adds a game. But genuinely, you can play the PES now if you go on the PS Store. PES Lite. It might be tomorrow. Actually, I think it might be the 14th. It was going live, but it's literally on there. But don't go online. Online's just a fucking disaster. And like I say, the pay to win.
And is that the general consensus then across most of the forums? Is that the online version of the game is still dreadful?
As long as it's not dreadful, if me and you were playing,
we
were playing how we would play. I mean, obviously, we never played PES against each other. But if we were playing PES, and you said, right, we're playing 1-bar assisted, and I just went with your settings, we played. Full well we are going to play that game as mates would play. We'd try and beat each other, but it's not going to be where you're going to be just whoring the through ball, or you're going to be, you're going to try and play a game of football, so you'll enjoy it.
Utilizing the elements of that would most directly help you score a goal. Yeah,
exactly. But as soon as you play some little wanker online who just wants to beat you and fucking, I'm not saying they don't want to beat, everyone wants to beat you, but they just want to cheat the way to victory, which is what PES has had a problem with online for years now. And this isn't sound great. This is come from someone who's played thousands of games of PES. So I'm not some fucking mug who just comes on every 6 months slagging the game off. I've played thousands of games of PES over the years. I mean, more than I've ever played FIFA. And I've had FIFA on a loop for maybe 5 or 6 years on and off, where I've played a lot of games online. I have played more games on PES, and it'll never catch up FIFA ever, I don't think. It'll take a good 3 or 4 years at least to be constantly playing. And I'm not even touching FIFA 19 at the moment. So genuinely, that's for someone who even was going to compete at a competitive level at PES. I'm not even good enough now, I'm shit, but I was at one point pretty good at the old PESs. But it does work with friends. So if you and your friends did it, I think you can play each other with your My Club team. So it might be a workaround.
And I think we probably spoke about it before as well. I've never ever been a fan of that sort of fantasy draft element of sport. I always want, the career element of the game as well. I know that most people will, so that's obviously why Masters League has still been there as much as it probably hasn't been touched for about 3 years. I always want that little element of and there was something about me maybe in the infancy of the game where I did like that ridiculous element that the older players would be reborn, so you could go and get Pirlo and Buffon or something like that. But even that, the fact that they've not really changed that element of it as well, or that that there were the generic classic players in the team, and you could find an option file out there that would obviously make them all official and give them the right looks and stuff like that. So you could end up like building more or less like a classic Man United team on the Masters League and stuff. That's some great games like that, and some careers on some of the previous iterations as well. And, maybe if, like you said, the patch has kind of rectified any of the issues that they've seen before, Because I know one of the things that when I was looking on social media had that same element from last year, that it wouldn't have mattered whether you were playing Barcelona or Stoke, but if you had the game setting at a particular level, the teams would perform at that level regardless of the individual stats of the players.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's one thing I just couldn't abide, really. I like it to be competitive, but I like it to also feel different as well.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's like I'm not someone who can play like stuff like Championship Manager and that, but I want something where it feels like I've got to go on a transfer market and actually.
I love it. I mean, I love that element of it as well. You know,
yeah,
I think, and especially with FIFA 19, as much as when you start to initiate a transfer with my PS4 Pro, it sounds like it's about to take orbit. I swear to God, I think the bearings are going to explode and my fan is going to smash through my bloody TV stand. But that little element of it, granted, like the last handful of players that have probably signed in FIFA 19 have actually dropped the wages, but that's obviously because they just want to play for me. And I've created a fictitious Nigel Clough on it because we actually started as Nottingham Forest in the FIFA career as well. But I just think there are so many elements within that even FIFA haven't really changed over the last couple of years that are just light years ahead of where PES is. Because I know you were probably mentioning before where the Masters League was concerned in the initial stages with PES is that the other teams didn't hardly have enough outfield players in the squads, that they were just selling so many of the players so that all of the outfield players were completely depleted.
Yeah,
like goalkeepers were having to play outfielders. Well, I mean, as much as there are still basic elements in FIFA that I wouldn't understand, like when fixtures change near the back end of the season, you'll have like the FA Cup final, and then you'll have like the penultimate league game a day after or something like that, which means that you need a squad of about 40 just to get through. But at least there's so much more depth with it, which again would obviously still convince me that it would still need to be like sort of February, March time that I'd be looking at picking up PES, because I know I'd probably only be playing it for a few months before the newer versions of the games came out.
Yeah, and I think as well, I agree. I mean, obviously with FIFA, I'll give you, because obviously like you are playing FIFA a lot more than I'm.
It's to death, really. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and look, it's not that I agree. I mean, I've got FIFA 19. We have pro clubs. I rave about pro clubs, but unfortunately, it's not been changed again. It's probably the best mode they've got outside Ultimate Team. I hate Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
I don't like to say, because I'm online. I want to play people, sort of human people as such.
Explain pro clubs to me.
Well, basically, there's me, because I'm one of 9, so there's like 9 of us. I'm the oldest, I'm 40, so but my whole family of gamers going up to me all who's 62. He still plays Call of Duty every single day, COD 4, just noob tubes the fuck out of it. But we've been gaming since I was like 3 years old, so every one of us is a gamer, even like boyfriends and girlfriends who've gone into the family. My youngest sister's 19, and they're all gamers. Like, it seems to be we all get with people who are into gaming, but basically, there's me, my brother Adam, my brother Javier, my sister, she's 19. We've got weird names, everyone, but Felicidad. And then it's my daughter Jordan and my nephew Kyle, who's my brother Adam's lad. And we are a team.
Okay.
So one
individual players.
Yeah, we all create an individual player.
Yeah.
And then one of us, you all choose a position when you pick your team. So you've got the 11 on the screen. You pick where you're going to go. So I'm up front. I'm actually Hulk Hogan, 6'4", 240 pound.
You got a handlebar moustache as well.
Yeah. So he does change sometimes to Ric Flair and Stone Cold.
Right, okay.
Most of the time, he's because the commentator actually says Hogan all the time. So he's got a left foot.
Guy plays for Villa.
Yeah. So I'm right-footed, but in real life, but in this game, I've got a left foot cannon of a shot. So I put all my eggs.
Hammers.
So you've got like this progress thing where basically you as you're playing, you get reward points, which you can then.
And would you play against the computer components, or do you play against other people as well?
No, it's just purely against people online. So basically, you go into games. So what you can end up with is you could basically end up with 11v11, which is something PES brought in.
Yes,
but it never works.
No.
But on pro clubs, it works. So what happens is, say there's 5 of us on a team, which most of the time there is, one player has to go.
The rest of them.
It's called any. So basically, because other teams do it, and their any will be the CPU. So what you do is you press Y, and it'll actually automatically pass to you. So it's a bit of a blag. So you can.
But you've also there's got to be an element of teamwork in that somebody isn't calling for the ball in the wrong position.
Yes. Yeah, because you'll get a defender who'll just try and hoof the ball to the right winger when there's just literally no chance of.
Yeah, so it helps that it's everyone that knows each other on that team.
Exactly. So we always have one person who plays as any. So literally you could have two people on the team. So say it was you and me, you could go as any. As long as you've got two players, you can play a game in pro clubs. It doesn't have to be the same set of people. You could have three people on one night and you play your club games or your cup games. So it really works, but it's literally a player growth thing. So my striker cannot go any further, but we've not played now for 5 weeks. But as a game mode, it's great because it's a laugh. But when you're getting beat, it's not. You get against some really good teams. But that's the only mode of play now. Like I've spent a lot of time playing Ultimate Team over the years. A lot of time. Yeah. Going back from 2000, and I know it was 2009, 2010 when it come out. I've literally spent a lot of time playing it. I just can't touch FIFA now. I just cannot touch the game other than pro clubs. I play the odd game if a mate says, do you want to play, one-on-one? And I will enjoy it, but it's just FIFA. It just feels lifeless. And I actually think this year, PES has nailed it on, other than the shot variation, but it's just lifeless PES as well because there's no modes behind it. It's like a demo. It's like a tech demo.
I think the thing that saved me, because obviously, as you know, moved quite a lot out of the area, and quite a lot of my friends have as well. So I think the thing that we did rely on, especially in the infancy of us all moving into different areas of Manchester or South Manchester or Cheshire, was when Destiny came onto the PlayStation Network as one of the free games for the PlayStation Plus for October, I think.
Yep.
That was great because even though we weren't that interested in playing it, it was a great way to go into a PlayStation chat, and there's like 4 of us that are obviously close friends, and even if we weren't that bothered about the game, it was just a really good way to catch up and stuff like that. And the one thing that has really frustrated me, because I know that you alluded to the Masters League Online with PES before, is that there wasn't actually a way to play the FIFA career mode like online or anything like that. And only recently have I actually realised an element of the PS4 share play mode. So I don't know whether you've used it before.
Oh, yeah.
I had never, ever used it before at all. And just on a whim the other day, and my friend was wanting to look at what the career mode on FIFA looked like. So, and I was showing him what like I said to you, I've created my manager as Nigel Clough. I was the Nottingham Forest team. I've just moved to Inter Milan as well. And when you go down to the option of share play, it's obviously got the thing of give the controller to somebody else. So if you're wanting to sort of show off a game and they can play it, and I never realised there was that other option underneath, which was like play the game together. Mate, that has been fucking revelationary, honestly. Like, so now me and another friend at any one time can play the career mode on FIFA, even though we're not in the same house together as well. Granted, they don't often get like a great reception. It obviously is driven by my internet, which, because we're slightly out in the sticks here as well, I don't have my beautiful wired in Stockport Virgin Media 100 meg Virgin broadband, but it just what an incredible function that we can still do it. So maybe regardless of the fact that before its 6th patch iteration came out so that it was actually playable, I can actually now play the career mode with my friends online as well, which is a great touch. I don't know whether you played it in its infancy, FIFA, but there were so many elements of it at the start which had just almost rendered it unplayable. So there was definitely a point where when we were playing it offline that we actually thought that we were going to stop playing it because the blocking and the overpowered computer defenders were just making it impossible to play in any sort of variable way whatsoever. You would have to almost be standing about 10, 15 yards away from a computer defender to actually bend a shot round them. And even then, it felt like they were still going to be able to get a toe in the way of it as well. It was just ridiculous. And this is maybe where FIFA have obviously got the upper hand on PES, just because they've got so many players, so many more team members, that we're now looking at a 6th patch. And when you look at the patch notes, when it comes out to improve it, because obviously, as you know, there'll be a lot of online players. I don't even know whether the general consensus online is that it's better, but it's like playing a different game now. I mean, we shouldn't have to be sitting here on like the 13th of December and saying finally we actually have a FIFA that can play relatively well offline, because it's been out now for what, a month?
No, 2 months, isn't it?
2 months?
2 months. Yeah, 2 months. End of September it came out.
I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous that you're even allowed. Who the fuck tests those games before they even come to market? There, it actually takes an online community who basically just pans them. Like, even people who they're sponsored to play the game, who are just like, it's unplayable, and then they have to fix it 5 times.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen once. And even when I'm playing it, I'm like, And it's only taken now, like over the last few weeks, where you're like, it now feels like a competitive game. Like, we're beating the easier teams, because obviously, as you can imagine, we're in like the year 2023, and our Inter Milan side is absolutely disgusting. We've got like Mbappe and Junior and bloody Icardi and people like that. And, when you play against the tougher European opponents, it's brilliant. And again, when you play against the minnows who put 10 men behind the ball as well, it's still competitive as well. But why has it taken that long to get to that point for it to actually be a convincing game? But I don't know whether most of those guys that I would actually see playing online think it's anywhere near the game that it should be yet. I don't know.
It's funny because I'll go back to that quickly, that PS4 share thing. And obviously, yes, Xbox at the moment are trying everything because they're so far behind in sales.
Right.
It's great to be a gamer, really, because Xbox is just like, we're going to go, we'll share like Fortnite and all that stuff with PS4 and all this, where they were slagging them off, weren't they, saying they wouldn't do like the, cross play and all that, and they've caved in now, haven't they, and all, which is great. It's great for gamers, basically, because most people are multi-gamers anyway, and if you're not, you've got that option now. But I do agree, me and Steve have done that, where we've played PES on the PS4, just shared the controller, but then you play together. And I agree with you. It's one of the best, and it's one of the most underappreciated modes. Not a lot of people talk about it, but it's actually, if you don't want to buy that game, you can play with them.
It's only because we were thinking about it the other day, because it was, oh God, what is it called? Is it called No Way Out? That feels like, is that what it's called? That's not like
the Prisoner one. We talked about it ages ago,
Yeah, and we always promised ourselves. I mean, we could probably pick it. To be honest, it'll probably be one of those games that'll come out as the Heineken, please, wife. Thank you. There you go. I'm even getting beer brought to me as well, which is beautiful, isn't it?
Even promoting.
No, I was going to say not to promote the beer that I would get for free. We just got our Christmas present as well, which was 2 free crates as well. So
nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I don't understand why it isn't promoted more, because I can imagine that, especially, I don't know if you're in London or something like that, or wherever, where people would have that consistent, like, high internet speed. Because I know with mine, I think when it's at its highest point, it's like 30 meg. And I know my friend who's got like a relatively stable connection says that it might drop off now and again.
Yeah.
But to be able to play like any offline mode of the game, and only one of you needing one copy of that game, the only sort of frustration is that it only lasts an hour, and you need to keep going in and refreshing it, so you need to stop it and start it again. But again, that only takes 2 minutes, really. So
it'll be something I think they'll bring in, and it's a bit like the old, you can ring someone after 6 o'clock on your house phone, but after an hour, you've got to ring them back. You remember that old classic? It's 59 minutes.
Like that as well. Worse, when you're in like the last 10 minutes of like the Champions League semi-final, you both can hear yourself sweating over the microphone as well. You've got a free kick on the edge of the box, and then it says share play will be ending in 2 minutes, and you're just like, oh shit. Honestly, that's so realistically at the moment, between obviously with time being very precious, and the fact that I don't know why recently, probably because our daughter, who's only 7 weeks old, is starting to get into a nice little pattern, but we've actually been watching quite a lot of films as well. So doing that, and obviously sticking those on the Pixel Hunter, but now and again, when my friends have a little bit of time to catch up as well, just a handful of games on FIFA 19 as well. I mean, you're right, it still needs so much more work in terms of what we should be paying for, in terms of a more well-rounded career mode. I think the thing that really irks me is that there are no trophies linked to the career mode at all, which just shows you everything. And I think it's almost a little bit the same with the Masters League in PES. That I know it's not the be-all and end-all, but they're sort of nice little carrots for me to chase after, because I always remember historically on the PES ones, it was win the treble in Europe, win the treble in South America, and when those sort of things that you could do. Whereas on FIFA 19, I don't think that there's hardly any.
No, there isn't. I agree, and I think as well, one thing with Pez, I don't know about you, but the one thing I played a bit of the Masters League when it first come out, and I was like, right, let me play it. They're saying it works on manual, so I started playing manual. I played the demo manual a lot because obviously you've only got the demo, you're not online anyway, but you can play the demo online. That's what me and Steve actually did, was the share play. So you can play the demo as an online game in theory, because you can just, you can share the controller, playing against each other sort of thing. So we ended up doing like a 2-player games, and you can play the demo as a multiplayer game, which is great. And I did it with Daniel Henry, who used to be on WEMB. We played a couple of games on the PS4 like that, share play last year. Not this year, but last year. But the one thing is that's absolutely atrocious on PES. And I know it sounds fucking stupid. People are like, what are you going about? But it's the text and type. They've got this weird type on Pro Evo, and it's like up and down. So you say you've got a line, it's like they've used some weird font. And what happens is, say it says like Manchester United, it'll be, the M will be on the line, the A will be below it, the N will be the other, and it's like I don't know what it is. It's just a weird font. And I literally
Adam Batley, stop everything.
Yeah, I just
get on your developers, for Christ's sake. You can't even get the font right.
The type is terrible, mate. And literally, after the game, it would say something stupid like, this guy's gone to international play, or this guy's injured. Dead generic fucking crap stuff you see every about 2 or 3 games. And it's so difficult to read. It's like, I don't even care what that says. I just press A and go past it, or X.
Yeah, and that's like, don't do it. Either don't have it as an afterthought, just don't do it. That reminded me, actually, so FIFA was that bad at one point that when I was looking on social media, and I was just like, I need this game to be good. I don't want to affect like the sliders on my own, and I've never done it because it really feels like an artificial way of improving the game, and I just can't ever see me playing the game like that. But I actually noticed that there was a forum dedicated to it, and they basically have tests and tests and tests and tests and tests, and then they have a general consensus that comes out that actually says, adopt these sliders and everything will work absolutely fine. And actually, for that little brief period of time where it was a bag of shit, and they had it in there to... I mean, I actually don't know whether they've done one since, because, to be honest, the game for me, just for me, everyone else plays absolutely fine. Yeah. We're playing it on Legendary at the moment as well. Obviously, it helps that our team is ridiculous, because like Mbappe at the moment is like 96 or something like that out of 100, so he's just absolutely disgusting. So... It's brilliant. It plays really well, and I didn't really feel like there was a massive transfer from professional to world class. Initially, there was, but world class to legendary doesn't. The difficulty change is different. The computer teams are just more intricate and more challenging, but not unfair. Not to the point where it feels like, they're gonna put a move together now, where it's like watching Barcelona and I can't do anything, and they've either hit the post or foot they've scored. So yeah, exactly. I don't feel like I'm being robbed. In a sense, I've probably had too many beers and I'm very tired now, and we need to save it and maybe forget about that last game that we played and go to bed. So yeah, it's for me it works. There are still so many elements. I would probably say that everyone else would reiterate by, I rely very heavily on both the time shooting, which is a really good feature, but the timed finesse shooting for me almost feels like a guaranteed way to score a goal if you're desperate to get back into the game with the right people from the right area. And yes, you obviously need to be accurate with it, but I feel like I score those goals more often than not. I'll score nice creative goals. I find it very hard to score from crosses. I think that's always been the case. I know that, maybe the modern game doesn't rely on that so much as well, but I find it very, very, very hard to be... You don't necessarily have those good like 50-50 challenges in the air. I feel like 9 times out of 10, the computer's always got an advantage. I'm not saying that if you win the ball in the air, even with a good attacking striker, that you are guaranteed a goal every time, but there should be a little element of, I want to be able to utilize the wings and cross the ball in rather than going out wide and cutting back inside and looking for that little shot on the edge of the box. Yeah, I want the variety of the game to not only make it look good, but to give me another option to be able to get a goal as well. So
yeah, it's got to be organic, hasn't it? You've got to create.
Yeah, of course it has. Yeah, I'm not going to be one of these who I say spams a certain thing. I know I've just talked about finesse shot as well there, but I want it to be variable to be actually able to go back to it.
Yeah, because FIFA was always the one where you could do certain things, like say finesse shots. You could do certain things on certain positions on the edge of the box if you were struggling to score. Now I know, as much as we all rave about PES 5 and 6, I played like a good few thousand games on it was the original Xbox game, but it was on the Xbox 360 online because it came out just before the 360 came out.
Yes,
and I played online on that, and what that used to be was a very strange online structure, but
I can remember it.
Yeah, one half would be hosted by you.
Yes.
And the other half would be hosted by them. So that's where you got the lag cheats because it wasn't that strong. Then I think I had like a 2 meg.
A relatively nice, unique idea, really.
Yeah. So you knew that if you got a first half where you were getting peppered and it was a shit show of lag and cheating, second half you could make amends even if you were like a couple down. It was pathetic, but people used to do that. But PES 5 had its cheating online where you would literally, you could go to the byline and cut in, say, from the D. You run along parallel or online with the actual 18-yard box. You cut in, and the cutback goals were there. And it was something that we always used to say as friends, no cutback goals. Even we did tournaments at my house. I've got videos on YouTube years old that we used to play tournaments at my house and of PES. And that was the same thing, no fucking cutbacks, no sweaty goals. Even FIFA now, no sweaty goals, because you know when you're playing your mates that the last thing you want to concede is some wanker going in the edge of the box and just cutting it across. So the keeper's just null and void. So
there's some guy out there, I can't remember what the YouTuber's called as well, but I think it comes up on my regular feed just because I watch it before I'm drifting off, is once when the game was absolute dog shit, it's just showing like a rage compilation of some of the most popular FIFA online players as well when the game was at its worst as well. So that's beautiful. You ever get to see that as well. I mean, there's some of the biggest FIFA players out there that when it was at its worst, just some of them, like how many replaced pads there must be in a 10-minute video is
how many fucking control pads wedged in concrete walls, I think.
I tell you a good story. When it was when FIFA came out, actually, wasn't it? Game were doing a trade-in where you could actually, if you were buying FIFA, you could trade in your old pad and get like a brand new one for £10 or 15 quid or something like that. And I obviously been, I thought I'll take my used one in, not realizing anything about the pad at all. And I was about to go like slightly mental because I'd just been playing with that pad that day. And I thought the guy was being funny with me. Typically, he was like, I think he'd taken my trousers half down. Maybe he'd taken my underpants down a tiny bit as well. And he was like, it's not connecting to the PlayStation. I was like, what do you mean? I've literally just been playing with that. But you can probably still feel it's got my hand warmth on it as well. And he was like, well, no, it's not connecting. Plus, mate, it's got a massive dent where it looks like it's been smashed against the floor. And I was like, can't imagine what that would be, mate. No, definitely nothing me at all. And I can remember explicitly in my old house just slamming it down after a game of PES as well. So
yeah, well, I must admit, I remember going to game actually, Trafford Centre, and I'm calling them out on this with my PS4 original launch one. Nothing wrong with it, I'm not. I understand that, but I must admit, I'm never one to throw my pad or my brother does and my nephew. Jordan even does it. My daughter, I've heard her do it. I hear a bang and I know she's done something. So I always pay the £5 insurance. So after the year, even if there's nothing wrong with the pad, I just take it back and get a new one because that's what I've been paying for. Like I took back my Gears of War pad because it was playing up. It wasn't working. So I ended up getting a red one, which is fine. That'll be going back in about 6-7 months. But I remember seeing the PS4 in for trading, and them fuckers were like, it's not working. The games aren't loading. It's not working. And I was like, I've just been playing on it. There's nothing wrong with it. I said, there's nothing. So there's nothing wrong with it. He went, no, it's not working. We've had it for an hour. You can't trade it in. So I was like, there's nothing wrong with it, mate. And I argued the toss with him. So I said, give me a disc. It's proper. This was only last year, before the Pro came out last year. So I traded it in for a Pro. So I was like, can he give us a disc? You won't be an arse or anything. I said, can you give me a disc? There's nothing wrong with this PS4. I've had it. I bought it from this store when it come out the day the PS4 was launched in the 22nd of November in 30. I said, there's nothing wrong with it. My grown. I know they've got to take your word, haven't they? You probably get blaggers in there saying he's not wrong with it, he's pro. But generally, there's nothing wrong with it. I said,
imagine the usual clientele that would go into a Stockport game.
Yeah. That's something.
Oh, thankfully, a human. Jesus. Okay.
Genuinely, I understand that like CEX is a dodgy one because they literally you know, they've just nicked him out of a skip or something half the time and just traded him in. But
good money.
Genuinely, there was nothing wrong with it. I took it and they were having none of it. It's broke, doesn't work. I said, I have had that console for 4 years. There's nothing wrong with it. No, there is. So can you give me a disc? So I've got FIFA 18, plugged it in. It worked. I went, can you give me another disc? So he went, what? And he gave us like Last of Us or something. I put that in. I said, what? I said, you's having me off here or what? And he was like, no. I said, there's nothing wrong with his PS4. I had the box still with it, the launch box with the Killzone, because I got 2 pads of it. I'm obviously only given 1 pad, but I had 2 pads of it. I had the full Killzone box when I bought it and everything. And I was like, you are taking the piss out of me. And he's like, I'm not. I said, I come in and spend loads of money. I said, genuinely, I am not taking him. I said, there's not. Well, we tried it in the back. I said, I don't care what he's doing. I said, you're cheating me. So I had a big Barney with the guy then and was like, I'm not fucking coming back here again. So anyway, I went to CEX. And I went to Granger Games before they closed down, to be fair, in Salford, and just got a new one. Just traded it in. I got more money for it. They didn't even question it. They went, yeah, it's fine, mate. Like, you absolute wankers. Game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a bit of advice for me. And you've had the same thing is game will just, if they don't want to trade it in or whatever, they're just not trading it in. They'll just pick anything in it. They did it with me because I remember him saying, well, do you still want to trade it in? Because I saw my old PS Vita with it, which was even like, do you want to trade it in? I was like, no, I fucking don't. I'm not giving you fucking £300 now as well, you blaggers. You know what I mean? I was like, no chance. He was like one of them offers online. You know, they say trade in, you get so much off, and it'll only cost you like 60 quid or something. So literally, I had about 60 quid to pay for a Pro, and I was like, yeah, you can go and fuck yourselves. So,
yeah, so I think what would be interesting, that I know I'm speaking from obviously a relatively personal experience where the offline is concerned. It'd just be interesting to see whether or not there'd be many more of the Rage compilation FIFA videos built on the back of the 6th patch that's out. Not that a game should have to be patched 6 times with that level of extensive changes before it's actually playable. But it'd be quite interesting that once you actually put the podcast up to actually see where people are at with it. So,
yeah, I agree. And one thing you should follow as well, one guy you should follow, Andrew. He's a guy, I don't know, you might already follow him. A guy called Corey Andreas, I think his name is, or Andres. He's the actual community manager for FIFA, and he's a really good guy. Basically, he is the EA's version of our good friend Asim. So he literally, I think they've had a patch out twice in 10 days, you know. They've had 2 patches out.
Yeah, they did. They did.
So he,
again, like I say, after playing, yeah, I think I've got him here as well, Corey Andreas.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, okay.
Plus, he's a United fan as well, so that's not a bad thing.
Fucking hell, mate. Don't make that your tangent to go on to speak about them. For the...
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think we can talk anymore about PES and FIFA.
No, I think that's, like I say, it'd just be nice for that to sort of generate some discussion once it actually goes up, and try and get everyone else's input into it as well, because I think for me that is important in the right constructive way. We've obviously seen the changes. It shouldn't come to this, but I am refreshed in the fact that the community can be strong enough where FIFA's concerned, because they obviously have the team in the background, to be able to change it so that the game is much more playable. It feels a lot more balanced where defending is concerned. I feel like I can be conservative and aggressive when I need to be as well, you know, and I feel like it can be varied in attack. So I definitely am going to be playing it like into the new year at least anyway. And I haven't actually touched the story mode, and as much as, you know, maybe the dialogue and the story and the characters within the story mode of Alex Hunter are questionable, at least the elements in it, which you can play multiplayer as well, are relatively refreshing. So it's definitely got legs, even though I'm not actually playing any online version of the game at all.
No, it's good. And one guy you should follow as well, even though, like you say, you're right, the patch now feels like FIFA's organic, it's you know, it's contextual and stuff, is a guy, he was on the forums a lot. I think it's the same guy, Matt 10 he's called. I'll tag you on him later. He does sliders.
No, he is Matt 10.
Yeah, he's the slider guy.
Yeah, he's the slide. That's the person I used.
Oh, no, that's fine then. That's
the person I used. So when the game was questionable, he was the person I got in touch with him, so I follow him. And we had a bit of a conversation, and he was the one who put the sliders together. Yeah,
good man. Yeah, he's a PES fan, but he plays FIFA now a lot because of the show with Pez. But yeah, no, that's good. And I think what I want to do to balance it out, because you know how much I've slated, the whole bloody podcast was based on slating Pez, and I've not been that bad tonight, to be fair, for my return.
But
but
an element of positivity within this element.
It's quite worrying. But because I'm used to being a Konami troll and stuff, as people say about me. But I am going to play for the next, say we get together, say in a month's time, and do another podcast. I'm going to play Pez when I can now to see if because these people who are saying it's good are the ones who have really
been critical of it.
Yes.
I think if what you're saying is right, what I'll do as well, off the back of you saying this, if you're saying that the offline versions of it are free, I'll probably check after Christmas, to be honest, mate, because 9 times out of 10, I can't imagine I'll be getting much of a trade FIFA back in now anyway, really, even though it is December. So if I can find somewhere that Pez is relatively cheap, and I would have thought by now there'll be a relatively extensive option file that covers most bases for me, really. So I think I'll probably go and have a look at it to see whether it is.
I would. Well, one thing I would say, a little tip, is it was under £20 on the PSN, on the PS Store, but it's gone back up to 50 because they're doing the 12 days of Christmas. Now, it's not in the sale again, but it will be because the PS Lite's gone. So in the next week, I'll try and remember if I do, because I'm waiting, because Steve-O's got it. And Steve, you know how much Steve-O slated the game more than me, but he's absolutely gone from FIFA back to PES, and he's loving PES online. So he's been dying for me to get it, but because I've got it on the PS4 and I've got the Game Pass, I'm like, I don't want to pay 40. I'm not paying 40 quid for it anyway. I said, but I'm not even paying 30 quid for it. So when it goes under 20 quid, I'll get it, and then we'll play online again like we used to on the old PESs. Even, you know, so, but I would wait, and if I remember when it comes on sale, because it will come on sale on the PSN in the next week.
It's like 25 quid, it looks like, on Hot UK deals as well, so it's in and around 25 quid,
Just hang fire, though, you'll definitely get it for about 15 quid, I think, in the next 10 days, definitely. So I'll tag you now. But anyway, let's go and depress ourselves before we go.
Can we I'm giving you 3 minutes on this, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about it too long myself. Manchester United. I know Bibby, if that fucker's listening, he's reveling in it.
It obviously looked like when I saw him on social media the other day that he had an incredible day with his family and stuff like that through his new employees, Jelly Media, who I think it sounds like they kind of organised him to go to like an executive day out at Man City, as much as the game wasn't well as well. I mean, it sickens me that there's a club that kind of has everything right at the moment as well, and we feel like, whether you would argue with me or not, we feel like everything that is wrong with modern day football, really, that we're kind of exhibiting perfectly in almost every facet of the game. Yeah,
well, we've been the ones, you know, we won, you know, you put it this way, 2012, City win the league, the old Aguero bit, you know, last day of the season, we fucked it up against Everton, should have won it. They won it, fair enough. You know, 2013, Fergie stays on, we win it. It was more a case of he won that team with people like Cleverley, Smalling, Jones, Ashley Young, all average Premiership players, but he won it basically to say 2 fingers up to this sort of global money-making machine that was becoming City, and he was like, you know, this sort of cash book team.
But by the way, see you later.
Yeah, see you later. I'm going, you know, won the league, fuck you sort of thing. And he's left us, it's not his fault, but he's left us with players like Jones and that. He must be good at massaging egos of these managers, because how these fucking dead legs are still playing at Old Trafford, I do not know. But we have now turned into a team of just a fucking joke of a team. And like I've said, we do
It's horrible. Are you still going then? Because obviously...
No, I'm not.
No, good. I'm not going. Yeah, one of my friends who's shared a season ticket with his mate, and I was going like every other game. I've not been for about 7, 8, 9 months now.
I saw you, didn't I? At Old Trafford, remember?
Oh, yeah, you did. Of course.
With your family, I saw you, didn't I? With Joy, because we give it up. It wasn't, to be fair, it wasn't about the football, and I mean that sincerely, because I shared a ticket with my brother for 8 years, so we've had a team. We live right near the ground. We've lived there all my life, at the Quadrant, Old Trafford, near the cricket ground, everything. We always lived there. And that doesn't mean we're any better fan than you, anybody else. It's not about that. But
it was so much of your life.
Yeah. So, and you know, I've lived around near Old Trafford. My wife Sam works at bloody Ford, and Jordan, they both work at Ford, literally taking 20-second walk away from Old Trafford. They work on some at Busby Way, so I see it every day. But we just couldn't afford it. My brother Jordan and Kyle, who were the younger ones, we got them as they were kids. They're 18 now. So we'd have to move into another part of the ground where it's full price. Well, it's all right at full price, but it's £600. I think it was £680 each for the season tickets. So we split it. So I would always pay for Jordan, but it's not that. It's the cup games. They cripple you. United take the money out at midnight after a cup draw. You're fucked, basically. I've had it where we've had replays in the FA Cup. We scored last minute against West Ham a few years ago. I mean, Giggsy was still playing about 2013. Van Persie, fucking 2-2 last second. Giggsy does the ball top. Van Persie scores against West Ham. I was like, fucking get in there. Yes. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh, fucking no, there's another.
That's money out of your pocket that you can't control.
At midnight the same night, it's gone. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't afford that. So I was like, we give it up. And to be fair, I've not missed it this season. And that's a horrible thing to say.
I mean, it's good that, obviously, as you can imagine, like sort of family time, having to keep the young kids very entertained, especially like the 3-year-old being out and about and stuff like that as well, that it would have to take something very special to plan it around a game like that as well. And now I'm probably at the point where I can barely watch the highlights. I was under no illusion after that game at the weekend that we would fare any better against Valencia, and thankfully I was proved right because I played football that night as well, and I could barely care less about them, which is an absolutely sad indictment, especially while he's in charge and especially while the likes of... I don't care whether people say that Pogba's a good player. If he can't turn up for us, it shows that like him and other people couldn't care less about our team whatsoever as well. He's a disgrace, Pogba. He's an absolute disgrace. Yeah. You know, he has got the talent to be, and maybe his game, because he's so languid and plays like Mr. Soft, he is maybe suited more to Juventus, but he's almost had the football equivalent of having a silver spoon in your mouth while Vidal and Pirlo have been playing like violins next to him, and he's just been like the little kid who can just ping it from range and stuff. And now that he's had to go and graft and stuff like that, and granted he's probably had all of the confidence sucked out of him at the same time with Mourinho, we are just left with a wastrel in the middle of the park as well. And then even the people who he considers his leaders and stuff like that, like Matic, my God, honestly. And the problem that I have is that as much as, and I don't know what your like is, I can't see an instance where I could get excited about them while he's in charge of us, because I just think he's sucking the life out of that football team. It might not be his fault because Ed Woodward is equally as responsible, but at the moment I have nothing good to say about that football team at all. And I almost, which is a sickening state of affairs, there's a part of me that obviously doesn't in the main one. If we get stuffed by the Scousers at the weekend and it means that he leaves, then fucking brilliant.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny, isn't it? Because we knew pretty much with most things, you know, as we talk about the gaming stuff, exactly the same. The thought process is the same. Like, I know now, and I am not a knee-jerk reaction. I remember going to, like a lot of my family, because there's so many, like my dad watched United when they got relegated, and there's a great documentary. Have you seen it? Have you seen Too Good to Go Down yet? I've only watched that.
I haven't. No,
amazing. It's on BT Sport about United.
Yeah. All right, I've got BT, so I don't have a choice around here. Actually, I had to get it. So
get it. It's really. I'm only halfway through, but it's brilliant about how we went down after the European Cup in '74 and all that shit. Really good. But I am with you on this. I think for me, I stuck by, like, you know, the Moyes situation. I remember going to Vegas, funny enough. It's quite ironic. We've just come back there. But 2013, Fergie said he's retiring. We'd won the league. We're playing Swansea. I was on the plane, and then they used to flash up like these stills of the latest news from Sky News, because obviously they had the internet on the planes then on Virgin, and it just said David Moyes is United manager, and I was like, what the fuck? And then we had Fergie's last game. While I was over in Vegas, you know, I was upset watching it, you know, lumping the throat job and all that shit. I was like gutted he was going, and his speech and that. And then I remember going to FA Cup game against Swansea, and it was in the January. I think it was like the third round or fourth round FA Cup, and Bowen, he scored a header, and Swansea played us off the park. And I'm not joking. I sat there to Jordan. I mean, Jordan was only 5 years ago. She was 13. I remember saying to her, he'll never be United manager. He's gone. And she was like, you know, she's like, what do you mean? I said, this is the worst I've ever seen United play. I know we spoiled with Fergie and that. In the last couple of seasons, we won the league and stuff, but we weren't playing great football. But he had a good team, Rooney, Van Persie, the nucleus was there, some class players. When they needed to turn it on, they turned it on. They weren't playing attacking football every game. That's like a fucking myth, that, to be fair. But we were a winning championship team. And obviously, Moyes just decimated that team. Rio, Vidic, the other, like, fuck off.
Everything like that as well. Just think,
yeah,
I don't need any of these winners and champions that have been here before. I don't need to be drip fed into the football club and actually leave us with. Obviously, the one thing that probably didn't help him was David Gill leaving at the same time as well. But to actually have the arrogance to go in there and think, no, these guys who haven't won anything, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then he's still, to this day, when he's on TalkSport the other day, he's telling that story about how he almost signed Tony Cruz.
I know.
It's just a parody of himself almost.
I fucking Alan Partridge, isn't he?
Well, isn't that funny that is exactly how I picture, and that's exactly how David, oh my God, what's he called? The guy who does the football cartoon articles for The Guardian as well, David Squires.
Yeah,
when he did the little sort of parody of Alan Partridge in his red leather codpiece and Mourinho, like sort of having a daydream about that while he's up in his apartment in the Lowry, never integrated into the football club, says that he cares about them, and all he does is slag every single one of those players off, whether it's deserved or not. So no wonder, even if we are capable of slightly above mediocrity where we are at the moment, based on a manager like, I don't know, Eddie Howe, who might actually be able to bring in some of the youth team players and actually galvanise the squad and make like the United fans care about the team that they're watching at the moment. But as long as this continues, I have very little interest, because this is not the football or the club that I actually signed up for at all.
No, and I'm with you, because I agree. Watching that last night.
Oh, did you watch? So did you watch the?
Yeah, I watch every game. I always watch every game. Unfortunately for my sins, from start to finish, I never miss a game for United ever. Even the Palace game, I vowed I wasn't going to watch it in Vegas when we played Palace, and I got up because of jet lag. Anyway, I was up and I was like, I'm fucking watching it. And I sat there. We had like a suite, luckily, so I sat in like where Sam got ready in a dressing room. Just put the laptop on and watched it, and like say LVG, I went to the semi-final against Everton at Wembley. Martial, we won the FA Cup the next month. I could have gone to the final, just couldn't afford it. Season ticket still going strong. We get Mourinho. We all knew what we were getting with him, but we knew he was a winner. So obviously, first season, UEFA, Europa League, we qualify for Champions League. We win the fucking what's it called? The bloody. It's the League Cup in it, but whatever it's called now. We win, Rumble. It was Coca-Cola Cup if you go back that far. So we win that. You think, right, great. First season, he's done exactly what was asked on the tin. Second season, last year, we came second. We were so far behind City. It was embarrassing, but we were the best of a bad bunch behind City. City had a standout season. Any other season, we'd have been fighting for the league. This year, and it's the third season syndrome, like he's done.
Typical, isn't it?
It's just gone fucking wrong completely. I mean, Matic played well the other day when Pogba wasn't playing, but we're only playing against the fucking bottom of the league. So it's like, it's not anything to write home about. And then we've got Liverpool, and I was saying the other day, I've got a feeling he's the type of manager we could go there and get somewhere. And after watching that last night, it's like,
I don't know, but it doesn't really matter to me anymore. I mean, in the context of that game, I'm exactly with you. They'll probably surprise me, but it just doesn't matter. I mean, there is no consistency whatsoever.
No, and the one thing I'm going to say, which is terrible, is I end up watching, after I've watched United at the moment, and people who don't support us are going to piss their pants laughing. I end up watching other teams' football afterwards, even the MLS, to watch some sort of attacking dynamic football, just to cleanse my fucking soul of watching.
No, I mean, I can't. Well, I tell you what, mate. Honestly, this is. I mean, and it's always competitive. It's always competitive, and it's always good. The Championship this season has been absolutely incredible. There's still about 8 teams that can win that league. I find the highlight show of that a million. It's like an afterthought going to Match of the Day, unless obviously, there's been a cracking game between Leicester and West Ham or something like that. because it just saddens me to watch City score. It's when I didn't know the scores. I'd purposefully not looked at any of the scores for the Saturday afternoon game, and then I was like, "Ooh, bloody hell! City and Bournemouth are on." And then Callum Wilson equalised, didn't he? I was like, "Oh, maybe this is the one." Oh no, it's just because they scored 4 goals and they were amazing again. I see, right? Okay, that's fine. But yeah, no, for me, I'm finding like the Championship and like one of my favourite European teams is Inter Milan. So I've almost just been following them a little bit just to try and take my mind off the absolute detritus that is Man United.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop for me until he leaves. It is not going to improve while he's manager. And it would sicken me to see him actually get a transfer window with that money, because I do not want him to spend that money at all.
No, you're like me. I genuinely said to a lot of people, I have been absolutely, it's the players, they're all wankers, blah, blah, blah. And I am the most patient fan. And it's like, you can see we've got the nucleus of a good team there. We're all pulling the right direction. But I am of view now. I have, once I've gone. And I've gone about 3 games ago. I was like, yeah we're done. We're done now. That's the end of it. It's like, we're gone.
Yeah.
So I
mean,
I agree.
We're going to get drawn against Real Madrid or Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and we'll probably surprise ourselves, but we'll ultimately get knocked out by them in the first knockout round. Yeah, and all we're playing for is the FA Cup, because I mean, how far away are we from 4th? Are we in double digits already? 11, 12 points away from 4th.
I think it's about 8 or 9 points, maybe 10. He could be right. I agree with you though. I said now there's no way they should be giving him any fucking money. Whether he spent half a season proving a point to that dickhead Ed Woodward, who has now had his hair done because he's on the TV more and he's become more of a prominent figure than Martin Edwards ever did, or David Gill. He's a little bellend as well, and I know people who work at United say he's a prick as well. So,
it doesn't surprise me. You can sign more noodle companies than he can do competent footballers, and that's where Mourinho hasn't got a leg to stand on for me as well, because he slagged his own players off, and the majority of the players that he's actually signed for the club, none of them play for us. Bailly looked like one of the best players, and no doubt under a different manager, he would be absolutely incredible as well. Looks completely bereft of confidence now as well. Maybe Lindelof to a certain extent as well, that he just runs into the ground as well. Fred, why the fuck did he spend all that money on Fred?
I know.
Maybe started on Sanchez. What a bloated prick. Honestly, go play your fucking piano somewhere else.
I know.
Honestly, just full of egos that almost him and his egotistical manner is like, bring him in, I can deal with him. And now look at the state of us.
I know. And that's the thing. You're trying to spend your way back to the top, aren't you?
Can't do it. You need to start accepting where you are. You're a mid-table football team and you need to start again. So that's why I'm genuinely, there's no ounce of me with my tongue in my cheek saying, if you were to get somebody in like Eddie Howe and you can bring in Gomez and Chong and Mason and all of the young players like that and actually start to build a nucleus around this youth that's there as well, and understand who your consistent players are who actually care playing for the football club, even if it means that we start off poor but we actually start building on something rather than pretending we're still anywhere near City, we might actually start to have that fan belief come back into the football club. But if it's like this at the moment, like I can't even look at like the MUFC hashtag on Twitter because it just depresses me. Do you know what I mean?
You know, and this isn't just about United. This is like any team. These fucking footballers, Andrew, these wankers. Like you get Ashley Young and fuck it, we go again. Let's go. Oh, it's not the result we wanted, but we're going to keep fighting. Fuck off.
My thing is, if you see anything, Rashford or anything like that, it's just it's a handful of comments that are underneath as well that are so entertaining. Yeah,
it's pathetic because it's just like, why don't they just come on and go, you know what? We played fucking shit today. We're sorry. We were wank. I didn't try. I'm going to try and play a bit better next game and have a bit more respect for it. The same generic. It's like watching a fucking Masters League, isn't it, with Pro Evo? The same generic fucking terms all the time.
Boop, boop, boop. Option C. Beep, boop, boop.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. That's it. Done.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Let's go. Right, so where can everyone find you, mate?
Well, at the moment, I am trying to keep up with my movie reviews or something like that. I'm actually maybe in the throes of putting a little sort of blurb on there because for her sins, my wife has never seen The Sopranos, and I'm actually then starting it for a second time. And I kid you not, mate, and I was so skeptical about how it would look or feel or sound. The first episode, it just knocks it out of the park straight away. It's terrifying. It obviously may look a little bit dated or anything like that, but James Gandolfini and so we have like another 85 episodes of that to go, 7 seasons. Again, it's probably still one of my favorite shows of all time as well. So I'm going to put stuff on there like that. I've watched a handful of films that I'll just go through very quickly, and I know that quite a lot of people have seen like the newest Mission Impossible. I love that film. It's so good, honestly. It's up there with some of the Bond films as well. Sorry to Bother You, which I probably found a little bit questionable. I was really expecting good things from that because I love Lakeith Stanfield, who's in Atlanta. Ghost Stories, but at the moment, over the handful of films that I've watched that people will be able to see with the ones that I've posted on Instagram and Twitter at the moment, Lean on Pete is still one of my favourite films of the year. I know it's 2017, but for me, that's still one of the best films that I've seen. It's just about a young kid who's kind of finding his way in the Midwest and gets attracted to like the element of horse racing and this particular horse with Steve Buscemi's in it as well. It's just a beautiful little indie film about like a kid finding his way and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm thankfully getting back on the film wagon as well. Granted, I'm still having to take my son to some god-awful kids' films at the same time as well. Jesus, don't talk to me about Wreck-It Ralph 2. Jesus Christ, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that there'll be a little bit more variety over Twitter and Instagram. I can't really see me justifying at the moment getting back into streaming as well, because I know obviously when we spoke a while ago about YouTube raising the roof about the monetization and stuff like that, so there's not necessarily the draw there for anything. Because the last thing I think we did on that was Monster Hunter as well, and we weren't necessarily getting the traction for stuff like that. But there'll be the usual album of the week. I'll probably be doing like a top 10, I would have thought, of my favorite albums of the year. And again, so that's at Pixel Hunter _ on both Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, good stuff. Now I've got a quick plug. Our podcast, mine and Dave, my good friend, is Comics in Motion, where we review TV, movies that are all based on comic books. We're actually at episode 50, which should be out this week. So if you want to listen to that or you're into that sort of thing, it's on Twitter at Comics in Motion P or on iTunes, Comics in Motion Podcast. And we interview a lot of comic book creators as well. So get over there, guys. So Andrew, top man, I'm so glad you come on for the 50, mate. You're always,
great, isn't it?
You're always the man, mate. And
I've loved it. Yeah, and again, apologies that it's taken so long to get it together, but yeah, I'm very glad as well, because I always have a lot to talk about as well. And like I said, it'd be nice to get that sort of interaction with the rest of the audience out there as some of the topics that we discussed. And to be honest, I'm on to the next one, mate. I can't wait. Just like I say, as long as we can shoehorn and put in a little shoebox that little discussion topic of Man United, because I mean it's cathartic at least anyway. I feel like I've been to counselling now where United concerned. So.
It's funny for everyone else though as well, because they'll be laughing their heads off.
Bibby's just gonna love it, isn't he? Jeez,
yeah, he is the wanker. But no, Bibby, we love you really, mate, and well done on the new job as well.
Yeah, well played. All right,
he's a good man. So if you want to follow this podcast, get following me on Twitter, Chris Phelps 78, or at the Contextual, which is the actual podcast handle, and get over following Andrew Pixel Hunter as well. So this has been episode 50. It's been emotional. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.